for Mr. Bingley, a fellow of large income, and oh, Mr. Bennet, he is single. What a conquest for one of our girls, but only if you will call on him first. Mr. Bennet!
How can it possibly affect him, my dear?
It is universally acknowledged that a single man with a good fortune must be the one for a wife, Papa.
Exactly. Thank you, Lizzie. And I'm sure he will settle for one of them, but you must get there before that horse-faced Charlotte Lucas. Mama, Charlotte is our friend. Well, your horse-faced friend's mother is a shameless fortune hunter, Jane, and she will snatch him up at a trice if you do not go. Ah!
Mr. Bingley may have any of the gals he chooses, but I will go in a good word for Lizzie.
Thank you, Papa.
She is not a bit better than the others, not half so handsome as Jane, nor as good-humored as Lydia,
Thank you, Mama.
and you will have your favourite. Mama! And she is not so tall as Mary.
They have none of them much to recommend, my dear.
Well, we will never be rid of any of them if you will not consent to at least visit one very promising gentleman who's practically fallen into our laps. Oh, Mary, do stop. You will tear my nerves to pieces. I do not call for my own amusement. Fine. Fine. You delight in vexing me. You have no compassion for my nerves, which any moment may snap.
I have high respect for your nerves, my dear. They are my old friends. I've been acquainted with them for 20 years at least.
Well, do not blame your father, girls, if he should drop dead before
I say.
providing for their futures. For as you know, this estate is entailed away from us once he is dead. And when we are left penniless old maids begging for bread in the streets, it will be too late then to cry.
Mama, please do not work yourself up.
No,
Lydia!
Your father does as he thinks best as man of the household.
Do not resolve on penury and death quite yet, my dear. They're just long enough for me to introduce you to Mr. Bingley.
Papa?
I met the gentleman yesterday.
Is he discovered? Does he play?
I testified to nothing but that he makes 2,000, 5,000 pounds a year, and that he will attend the Longs Ball on Tuesday.
Mr. Bennet, 5,000 a year! You are so good, Mr. Bennet!
I hope I brought a moment's peace. Now, Mary, talk as much as you choose.
Oh, Lydia. Lydia, though you are the youngest, I dare say Mr. Bingley will dance with you first. Oh, but you must have new slippers. Mr. Bennet! Mr. Bennet!
I'm not afraid, for though I am the youngest, I'm the stoutest.
A rich bachelor in the neighborhood, Jane. Whatever shall you do to get some new clutches? One of us must marry to save the family after all, and you're the likeliest champion.
Me, Lizzie, why not you?
Me? I'm an ugly, sharp-tongued, awkward little creature. But you are good and kind and 5 times prettier than any other girl in the county. No, you shall have to follow Mr. Bingley's sword. Be quick about it, too. The clock is ticking for us, old maids.
Then why shouldn't I catch him?
Or me. Lydia, you're much too young to think of such things, and marry you.
Lizzie is just talking a lot of nonsense, girls, as usual.
Yes, we're only joking.
Why should you pretend that love and marriage is a joke? Think very seriously.
That is because you are far from it. If you're closer to the prospect, it comes much too frightening, and you must laugh so you don't cry. Playing the game keeps one sane. When the stakes involved threaten to drive one mad.
Stop filling your head with foolishness. It's not a game video.
There are rules, strategies, wins, losses, and theoretically, it is done for pleasure.
How do you know if you found the right match?
Well, I shouldn't tell you this, but yes. You know you've been the right one way.
Yes.
And then you got shoots down from the sky and throw you like an egg! You probably decide he's a perfect match just after your mama has finished counting all his rich 60 relatives, and your papa has called on his bankers. These things are all arranged above one's head, Lydia.
It's complicated, dear. But I imagine you know you've met the right person. But at first, there's a liking. And then you behave appropriately, of course. But eventually, there's a perfect understanding between souls. Wordless is fullness.
Now is, Elizabeth? I have no desire to find out. One of you is married to make the family for ruin for all of none of it.
You don't mean that.
I know myself, Jane. I shall never marry. For the state is fundamentally flawed as far as I can see. It is all too much. I would, however, make a lovely maiden aunt. So hurry and make the necessary arrangements with this Mr. Bingley.
Oh, no, I have to go.
Yes, you have to go to the ball.
And Harry has to go to the ball.
Oh, do it.
Lydia, please.
Line now, girls. Attention. In line.
Do stand up straight. No man likes a hunchback. And he does not show you to advantage. Oh, Mary.
This dress itches.
Oh, do step back a little. Now, smiles, smiles. You try to look agreeable, Lizzie. This may be your last chance. Now, with you on full parade, I will act as vanguard and... You, Mrs. Long! How is your boy with the scrofula? And is he here tonight? I spy a red carrot. Lydia, don't step out of line. Lydia! How can you laugh?
What else is there to do? Charlotte!
Jane, Lizzie! Mary!
Ah!
Mamma insisted I join the line immediately and not give up any suitors to shameless Bennet.
I spy?
I spy. Have you been engaged for any dances?
Oh, there's a deplorable lack of gentlemen. I spy nobody worth noting.
I spy a terribly dull evening ahead.
I hate this kind of event.
Lizzie!
What? I don't like to be pushed and pulled and trod upon, or to play a game I'd rather not win.
I spy your mother attempting to ensnare Mrs. Long's scabby son for you now.
Oh, don't squeeze it, Steve.
I spy Lydia having rather too much punch, Lizzie.
Oh, I do believe I spy the wealthy Mr. Bingley and his equally rich sister. She is much too perfect to be admired. I rather hate her.
That cannot be the bachelor my mother described, Charlotte. He looks most disappointingly warm.
My heavens, Caroline, have you ever seen such a charming room?
A very rustic sort of charm.
And most natural, unaffected, wonderful. Come, Star, come.
Bet.
Now, Darcy, have you ever seen a more charming room?
It is loud.
Nothing like dancing to quicken the blood.
Any savage can dance.
Some do now.
All of this vivacity, all of these eccentricities and imperfections, it's such a refreshing contrast to London life, don't you agree?
I've never found fault with too much perfection.
Oh, Darcy, there's never been a pleasanter ball nor better company. And I do believe I never shall be happier than at this very moment. I believe I spy.
Charles.
I hate this kind of event.
Just aren't they so vulgar and clumsy?
It is a close room.
Lizzie, do pay attention. Oh, Mr. Bingley has arrived and he brings with him his friend,
Mama!
Mr. Darcy, who is worth 10,000.
Mama!
Oh, Mary, you're
Mr.
not blind.
Bingley, my eldest Miss Jane Bennet.
Miss Bennet, will you?
Mr. Darcy, wouldn't such a pair as ourselves be a compliment to this dance?
Oh, it is a compliment I should never pay. Oh, punch. Hot punch.
Do you see, Charlotte, how out of all the girls, Mr. Bingley chooses Jane? 5,000 a year! She shall snatch him up in a trice, and then all of our troubles will be over.
Yes, Mamma, yes. Who cares if Mr. Bingley is amiable or decent or even breathing? All that matters is we'll win 5,000 a year if only Jane can ensnare him.
Yes! Watch, Charlotte, how I turned one skirmish into 2 victories.
Mrs. Bennet, I really don't think that's
Surprise! Attack! Oh, Elizabeth, how could you be so clumsy as to spill upon Mr. Darcy? Mr. Darcy, I am Mrs. Bennet, and this is my single daughter, Elizabeth.
Mamma?
Oh, is it quite so?
Madam!
What a naughty girl! However shall you punish her? Look at that blush! Oh, well, you can show her that imperfection is easily forgiven by a true gentleman and stand her to a dance. Your friend Mr. Bingley has chosen my eldest, but Lizzie here is free. Quite free indeed.
I would not want to get you wet.
Elizabeth, go and apologize.
Mamma, this is all too much.
Bingley! I must take my leave.
But too charming is what it is.
So soon.
I am not fit to be seen. I look laughable.
We cannot surrender at the first sally.
So you're not perfect. It is a country ball. You cannot go, Darcy. It's most impolite.
This is all too much.
Mamma, please stop.
Why don't you dance?
It would be a punishment to dance with any lady here. All these vulgar country mothers pushing their daughters at one like choice cows at a meat market. Oh, I loathe strange company, and I detest dancing, and let alone while covered in rum punch.
Getting small, but wrong side, so. No, let me.
No, don't bother.
We really should leave. This company is rather too lively to be born.
My dear, we really should leave. Mary is worse than a terrier.
Ah!
Lydia's rather overindulged in the refreshments.
Oh, punch and punch again. Shall every girl in this family be undone by the demon grin?
Jane!
Listen.
Miss Bennet. I hope to see you again soon.
Yes, Mr. Bingley. Yes, she says she would love to see you again very soon.
I shall have my sister invite you to Netherfield.
My dear,
Lydia.
Bingley, come.
No, Jane, no.
One, two, three, 4, 5. There's only 4 stairs. My mother said you had a horse-faced stairs. What's your name for this, darling?
You made an absolute fool of yourself last night.
You made a fool of yourself. What did I do? Why did you throw it like that? We're playing catch. Excuse you? Do it correctly. How is this correct? That's correct. You're throwing it too hard. It's hard. Mary kicked me.
Nope.
At what point did she ever do that, Lydia?
We could not be better positioned for victory, my dear. Mr. Bingley was entranced, and he danced every dance with Jane, not a glance at another lady, and Charlotte Lucas was beside herself with nasty, spiteful jealousy. And now, to have Jane invited specially to Netherfield Park overnight.
She was not invited overnight, Mamma. They had to ask her to stay because you sent her to tea on horseback. And when it rained, you would not send the carriage to collect her, which is very
Very clever, my dear. But this is not my first sally in the field. I won your father, didn't I? Isn't he a prize?
have consumption. I'll be done with it.
What did Mr. Bingley say again, Lydia? What did he say exactly?
Mr. Robinson asked Mr. Bingley which he thought the prettiest woman in the room. And he said, Mrs. Jane Bennet
beyond a doubt. Oh, very well overheard. Lydia, so well played.
Mamma, you should not encourage Lydia to eavesdrop.
You cannot say so, Elizabeth. Vulgar country mothers pushing their spinster daughters.
Well, not all men are so worth listening to, are they? Oh, poor Lizzie. Can you believe that Mr. Darcy's so rude? But everyone says he's had a with pride. And I dare say he thought we were beneath him.
I would not have you dance with this vain man, Elizabeth.
Papa, I may safely promise never to do so.
Such a waste of 10,000 pounds.
Pride! Pride! Vanity and pride are different. One may be proud without being vain. Pride relates more to what we would think of ourselves. Vanity to what we would have others think of us. Pride.
I prefer the coffin.
If I was rich as Miss Darcy, I shouldn't care how proud people thought I was. I would own 100 dresses and drink a bottle of wine every day.
Then you would be drinking more than you ought, and I would take away your bottle directly.
You wouldn't.
I would.
You wouldn't.
I would.
You wouldn't.
I would. Who's it from? It's from Jane. She says not to expect her back home today because she has fallen ill and the doctor has advised her quite seriously to rest. Oh, how wonderful! Send back word that Jane may stay as long as she likes, that she may stay forever.
Mama, shouldn't we send the carriage so that Jane may recover at home?
Elizabeth, are you feeling quite well?
Papa?
She may as well be ill where it is advantageous.
Perhaps she would die. That would be romantic.
Papa!
Matrimonial games on women's patio, Elizabeth. I had enough of that when my own round was lost. Leave me out of it.
We often see cases of love from sickness, but perhaps this is sickness from...
Love. Very well said, Mary, indeed.
If you will not bring Jane home, then I will go to her myself.
I forbid you to do so. You may not have the carriage.
Then I shall walk.
Mr. Bennet! Come, Lizzie! Come!
She's going to dirty her dress.
She's going to die is what she is.
Mary is so
Yes.
rude.
I know.
Jane and Lizzie. That would make me head of the household.
Bennet might need more tea.
Darcy, you just had some sense up. Are you trying to drown the poor girl?
I just hate to think of her in bed, alone. That is, she's a lovely creature, isn't she?
She smiles too much.
Miss Jane Bennet is perfectly inoffensive.
I think her rather perfect, period.
You are too apt to admire people in general, Bingley. You never see a fault in anybody. All the world is agreeable in your eyes, and I've never once heard you speak ill of a human being in your life.
Perhaps you are too inclined to see flaws, Darcy.
If we do not address our imperfections, in all frankness, we shall never correct them.
He's right, Charles. There's great virtue in being particular.
I cannot stand in resistance to both of you at once, but you must concede that Miss Jane Bennet is amiable, to say the least.
I do agree with you, Mr. Darcy. Without a little clear-eyed judgment, what shocking company we would keep.
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Mr. Bingley.
Miss Bennet.
Miss Bingley. Miss Darcy. Is this your ball? Miss Bennet, have you suffered some sort of accident? No. I came to call upon my sister. Your clothes? I came on foot. It is only 3 miles. 3 muddy miles? It is still raining a bit. And I took a bit of a, tumble. How is Jane?
She will not come down, Miss Bennet.
Will you take me to her? Then you need to fear for your carpets.
Of course. And I will send up more tea.
What tea? Charles! What very shocking company!
No more tea, thank you!
Jade?
Lizzie?
Yes?
Oh, Lizzie, I'm so glad you're here!
Won't you come out now, darling? All the oxen free!
It's a disaster! How can I go down there and let Mr. Bingley see me like this? I look worse than Mary!
Now you're speaking nonsense, darling. You are beautiful as ever.
You're just saying that because you love me. But Mr. Bingley, he hardly knows me, and first impressions are very important.
If he liked you at all, then he shall like you even in an imperfect state. And I'm certain that he does like you very much.
Really? Think of Minnie. I like him too much. He really is a perfect man.
Drink your tea and tell me how such a paradox is possible.
I do hope the water will come out of the carpet.
Of course it will. It is water.
6 inches of mud on her, and did you see her hair?
Caroline.
To walk 15 miles or whatever it is, unchaperoned.
I thought that...
She really is too much.
I thought that Miss Elizabeth went remarkably well this morning.
I'm sure your noble friend will agree with me, and you always take his counsel. Miss Elizabeth Bennet showed a shocking indifference to decorum. Don't you agree, Mr. Darcy?
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Miss Bennet, how is your sister?
Materially better. I dare say we will be able to leave you in the morning.
Oh, no!
Perhaps
Charles.
I should send up some more...
Bingley!
No, Charles!
Sit! Stay! Good boy.
Do you play, Miss Bennet?
A little.
Oh, Mr. Darcy, does your sister still play? Her touch on the pianoforte is so elegant, so graceful, so faultless. Then she is so well bred.
It is amazing how old ladies are like that. So accomplished.
All ladies accomplished, Charles, whatever can you mean?
All of you play instruments and embroider purses and do a whole host of piddly-looking artillery unique people.
Those are, of course, the only occupations ever allowed to us.
If that is what you consider accomplished, Bingley, I am not surprised you think all ladies so. I don't know more than 1 or 2 women who truly fit the description.
I wager you set your expectations high, Mrs. Darcy. What is your ideal?
Oh, no woman may be called accomplished. She does not possess a mastery of music, the arts, and the languages.
All of the languages.
And even that is nothing if she does not also know when to speak and when to hold her peace. The accomplished woman is irreproachable, an elegant ornament in any room, a sparkling delight to any eye, and a flawless vessel into which the confidences of the greatest men may be safely poured.
And to this facade, she must add something more serious by the continual improvement of her character.
I no longer wonder at your knowing only a few accomplished women. I rather wonder at your knowing any. I have never met such a woman. United capacity, taste, and elegance. With, I almost forgot, moral invincibility.
Let us play fairly, Miss Bennet, and you may revenge yourself. Show that you can picture the perfect man.
Is it funny?
Picturing perfection makes me sick and wicked.
That would be ideal then, if not the perfect.
If I ever saw him, I should know it.
Miss Jane Bennet.
Miss Bennet, did you get my tea?
Wet entrances are a family trait, I see.
Bingley seems enthralled.
It will pass as all blind attachments do.
Though, I suppose he's in no real danger. And still, she is an interesting creature.
You are lost, sir, but I know your mind. You are thinking how insupportable it would be to pass time in such company.
I am meditating on the pleasure which a pair of bright eyes on the face of a woman can bestow.
Oh.
Jane?
Oh, so very well done, Jane. So clever. I'm glad to see you taking serious action at last.
There's no stratagem in a common code, Mamma.
Well, it is a pity he recovered, but it will serve. Mr. Bingley has been bewitched by you. He throws this ball to a purpose, Jane. He prepares to make his ambush. You must take care to be conquered.
Mr. Bingley's ball is no compliment to me, Mamma.
Speaking nonsense.
But you will engage him in earnest, won't you, Jane? You won't be too diffident, will you?
I will do all that is appropriate.
Oh, Jane, you have always been my favorite. Oh, the rest of you are nothing to Jane. 5,000 a year. I cannot wait to see Charlotte Lucas's face. Can you imagine? Oh, Lydia!
Mama!
Mary!
Mama, Lizzie, Jane, Lizzie, Mama.
Lydia.
Lizzie, Jane, Mama.
Lydia!
We have
Lydia,
such-
let me! Lydia!
Mama,
Lizzie, we have...
Play only with me. Go,
Lydia,
go, go.
no!
Lizzie,
We
play.
have...
Lizzie.
Is it a vegetable?
Nay.
A mineral.
We have...
Animal then.
Lydia,
They have.
let me for once! Or we have...
No,
Nay, you
right.
are all
Lydia, you will tear my nerves to pieces!
Game is over, Marion. I win.
You win!
Tonight's the night.
Don't touch me!
I've done my duty for the family, Mama, and I've learnt how a most majestic beast. A gentleman, 14.
A gentleman.
Yeah!
Lydia, you should not be bringing strange men home.
Why not?
Why not? I was chaperoned. Mary was with me, and Lord knows she's a stumbling block before the blind.
True.
Mary, I thought he might do for you, Lizzie. You're welcome.
My daughters, Jane and Elizabeth, this is Mr. Wickham. Mr. Wickham has recently taken a commission in the regiment as a colonel, sir.
Only a lieutenant, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, that is laudable. Why don't you have a seat here by Elizabeth? And I will go and fetch Mr. Bennet. It may be a moment. He's at his paper.
Mr. Wickham, I have such a naughty proposition for you. I demand that you come, escort us to Mr. Bingley's ball on Tuesday. He's James Bow, you know, and is so rich. And while Jane will be spoken for, Lizzie's very available for it too, Lizzie. No bachelors will be there, but James not Bow and that atrocious Mr. Darcy. So after Lizzie, you must come stand with me. Come, sir, come. Mary, do play something more cheerful. How can anything be arranged with you pounding away like that?
Do forgive my sister.
Nothing could be more natural than one so young. And I like high spirits.
How do you enjoy the county so far, Mr. Wickham?
It is charming. And the people so unreserved. Miss Elizabeth, the Darcy, your sister mentioned, and Mr. Darcy of Devonshire.
The same.
May I ask how well you know him?
We are acquainted. Are you friendly with him yourself?
We are acquainted. I have known his family since my infancy, but perhaps I should say no more.
Mr. Wickham, I shall lay myself bare and tell you that I find the man to be very disagreeable.
Then I too will expose myself entirely and say that I'm not surprised. We're expressing dangerous opinions now, are we not, Miss Elizabeth?
Not in this county, sir. He's not at all like in Hertfordshire, for everybody is disgusted by his pride.
Oh, how discerning you all are. Well, it always pains me to see him, but I shall not be driven away from this place too.
Oh.
In normal conversation, Miss Elizabeth, I would never break my silence. But, since we are being so naughty, Mr. Darcy's father was my godfather.
Oh.
He loved me like another son and promised me that when I reached manhood, I would inherit the most valuable living. But I'm afraid that when he died, that living was given elsewhere.
You were robbed of your inheritance by Mr. Darcy.
I assume it was because he was jealous of my relationship with his father. May he rest in peace.
You died All because of his
His pride?
pride, precisely. He deserves to be publicly disgraced.
That may be true, Miss Elizabeth, but I have sworn never to speak ill of him in memory of my beloved godpapa. I must thank you for allowing me to unburden myself to you, Miss Elizabeth.
You may call me Lizzie.
Miss Lizzie Bennet, there's something about you that encourages a man to open his heart.
Mr. Bennet will be in presently.
I must be on my way, ma'am. I only wanted to escort the little girls home safely. Miss Lizzie, I do hope that I may see you at the ball.
Oh, such a charming man. Oh, but only a lieutenant.
Why, Lizzie, isn't he perfect? Lydia? What a catch, yeah! I am not interested in catching anything, and you should not be thinking of such matters.
But that's all anybody thinks of.
Not me.
Well, you ought to.
Well, you ought to.
Lydia, even if I was tempted, Mr. Wickham is inappropriate. Your matchmaking is inappropriate. This conversation is inappropriate.
Girls, my nerves.
Where's this Paris? No! Come to steal away our poor excuses for Helen's.
Just missed it, Papa.
And I fulfilled my duty as patriarch, frightening off unserious young men.
See? I'm serious and inappropriate.
But only a lieutenant, Mr. Bennet.
The soundest nets will occasionally catch the smallest fish, my dear.
You and I did today, Papa.
I've had an intriguing letter. I hope you can accommodate another young man for dinner tomorrow.
Oh, Mr. Bingley Jane, you clever, clever creature.
No, my dear, it's my cousin, Mr. Collins.
Mr. Collins.
The very same villain who shall inherit this estate when I'm finally dead in that blessed
My
peace.
nerves won't stand
He writes to propose a visit.
He comes only to
He
count
wishes
the
to rebuild
silver.
the broken bonds between our houses. And I must inform you that he is single.
Oh, God.
Even if that fails, my dear, perhaps you shall cede him the best linens to shroud me in.
Is he a redcoat, Papa?
No, a clergyman. If you girls can manage to not frighten him away.
Oh, Mr. Bennet.
No, release me.
Well, now there are so many bachelors nowadays, there should be one for everyone. Even Mary.
Lizzie, Mr. Collins sounds very serious and appropriate.
Just hurry and get ready.
Can I sit next to the clergyman?
No, you cannot.
Can I sit out in the house? Lydia! Why?
Why?
Can someone tell me what unburdening oneself means?
No.
If you want to unburden
There we go.
unburden oneself how?
Make sure that Mr. Collins has the secret.
And why can't I sit next to him? Because you are too young.
To the lady. You young lady. You young, gracious lady of youth and grace. Lady. It is a grave duty to act as tutor of the spirit. Essence. So, but as a clergyman, it is my place to promote, establish, inspire channels. And I've been sent here on a mission, a quest, a crusade, by none other than the righteous Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Lady Catherine de Bourgh. I flatter myself that my overtures are meritorious, creditable, commendable, and that you will not reject, refuse, spur my proffered olive branch.
Oh, so well said, Mr. Collins. And I hope you know that we look forward to any connection between our houses, sir. Any connection.
Oh, even to spend even an instant with my sweet cousins, madam, shall be to feel forever gratified, enchanted.
Oh, entranced!
in charms.
Well, it will be the duty of my daughters to show Mr. Collins all of Meryton's charms. And I do hope, sir, that you will stand them to a dance at the Bingley Ball.
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No. Lydia only means, sir, that as a clergyman you may not wish to dance.
Oh, I intend to spend a couple with all of my cousins over the course of the evening. And I make this plea, this assertion, this claim to you, for we all are relations.
Dinner! Oh, look, it's time for dinner! Yay!
No, Mary, inside, thank you.
Mrs. Bennet, I am determined to heal this rift between our households. And to be plain, I'm a bachelor. But thanks to my noble patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh, I am a man of notable, estimable, considerable fortune.
Oh, Mr. Collins!
Your eldest daughter,
Jane!
Jane. She is excessively pretty.
Oh, I must inform you that Jane is spoken for. But all of my other daughters, sir, are available. Quite available.
I am sent to bring you into dinner, sir.
Oh, for you, sweet cousin?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. I shall go anywhere.
I'll have someone to dance with tonight, Jane. I'll have someone to dance with Jane. Wait, sweetie. I'm sorry. You can't even say the line. You're lying. We are in public. We are not doing this right now. I may have to dance
With Mr. Collins. Yes, Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins?
He's so intelligent.
Are you serious?
He has a way with words.
No.
He repeats words.
Old.
You're old.
You're old.
Older than you.
No, I don't want to. Girls, stop. Go on.
Balls. I cannot get enough of them.
Charlotte!
Lizzie! I see Jade has already spoken for. And then there were 3 in line.
4!
Yes. 4.
Come on, look, this kind of Forster.
Why, by all means, pursue him. Take
Ah.
Mary with you.
No.
Mama, you should not be encouraging Leah to chase after the soldiers.
It is good to get in some target practice before you engage in more serious skirmishes. Much as you did with Mr. Wickham. Oh, Mrs. Long! How was your sty?
Who is Mr. Wickham?
He's only a lieutenant. But, other than that, he seems rather perfect.
This coming from the woman who swore never to marry. Pray tell, where is his powder?
Do not read out the band, Charlotte, simply because I wish for a dance partner less objectionable than Mr. Collins. Besides, I do not spy Wickham at this assembly.
Jane is fortunate in her admirer.
Speaking of perfection,
Does she like him?
can't you see?
She looks too composed to be in love.
How forward can she be without being accused of little monster? Don't touch your musket! Vulgarity!
You know, she can catch him if she just breaks the rules a little bit.
Must it always be catching and gaming and strategy? Perhaps she wishes to know him before making a display of her affection.
But how much can we ever know of anybody? She should just hurry up and get him to the altar. She has the rest of her life to fall in love.
Charlotte, you would not act that way yourself.
It is my experience that one invariably finds oneself doing the things that they swore never to do. Speaking of which...
Miss Bennet, I wondered if you felt an inclination to dance. With me.
What? You hate to dance.
If you're previously engaged.
Yes, it's fine.
Attention, mesdames and messieurs. All of you are aware of the charms of most of my daughters, but one of them is more diffident. Oh, Mary! Oh, too many a flower to blush! Unseen! No, Mary! No one likes an actress. No. Miss Mary Bennet has graciously consented to share with us a most unspeakable gift, one far better than wit or style or charm or beauty or personality, the gift of music. And she will be available to dance afterwards. Oh, Caroline! Miss Bingley! We have so much to discuss!
Behold the painful exertions of a lady attempting to be thought accomplished.
You are joking.
I must start by being impertinent, Mr. Darcy, or I will be afraid of you.
Something amusing, Miss Bennet?
Oh, nothing, everything, us, I suppose.
You're laughing at me.
And myself, sir.
What about you is so amusing?
Where to begin? My flaws and follies and inconsistencies? The whole range of life which is out of my control, really. One cannot always cry over it, so I laugh whenever I can.
How interesting.
I doubt you ever laugh at yourself, Mr. Darcy.
It is the study of my life to avoid those weaknesses which expose the character to ridicule.
Such as vanity and pride.
Well, vanity is indeed a weakness, but pride, where there's real superiority of mind, pride may be justified. You are laughing at me.
Only because the contrast between us is so extreme. I am fundamentally flawed and thus hopelessly unserious. But you seem to possess such a perfect understanding that you seem to possess no defects whatsoever.
Miss Bennet, I do not think you mean that.
I talk a lot of nonsense. Can you conceive that others may laugh to find us standing up together?
Why?
Because it is such an unlikely pairing.
If I thought it laughable, I never should have asked.
Mary! Play a new song, please. Nothing can be arranged to such music.
No! Mary, you've delighted us long enough.
She is now available to dance. Retreat.
Miss Bennet, I am also not perfect.
No?
I have some faults.
Pray tell.
Perhaps my temper is a bit too unyielding for the likes of the world.
Ah.
And I cannot forget and laugh at the follies of others.
Oh.
And my good opinion, once lost, is lost forever.
You've chosen your faults well, for they are truly very serious.
Perhaps there is a particular evil in every character.
There's some of yours, Mr. Darcy. Your defect is, I'm afraid, a propensity to hate everybody.
And yours is to willfully misunderstand them.
Mr. Darcy! I am surprised that you are still here. I thought country society was beneath you. I was sure you'd have slithered back to town by now. By all means, sir, do not tarry.
Mamma?
What? Why should we keep Mr. Darcy from more sophisticated climes? Mr. Bingley enjoys Meryton, I am sure, and he always has something agreeable to say, as opposed to those who fancy themselves informed. Well, we will allow Mr. Darcy to go where he is tolerated, and we will keep Mr. Bingley where he is wanted. We are happy to rid ourselves of the one and to keep the other forever.
Why are you here, sir? Do you know nobody likes you? Come on, dancing with Kitty. We know you do not like her. Let's go find Wickham for you, Lizzie.
Wickham! The George Wickham of Derbyshire.
Yes,
Derbyshire.
Yes, a Derbyshire and a far more appropriate dancing partner than some.
I can assure you, ma'am, he is not. I know the man very well.
He has some interesting things to say about you.
Come, Lizzie, come.
Have you all made a pact to expose yourself as much as you could this evening? Mr. Darcy, how could you leave me to the mercy of that vulgar woman? Lured away by bright eyes, I see. When shall I wish you joy?
Lady's imagination is indeed rapid. It jumps from love to admiration to matrimony in a moment.
I was only joking, sir.
You too? I do not like to be the object of fun.
You have a charming mother-in-law. She confided some shocking expectations to me just now. These little games are getting out of hand. It's time to act seriously. Don't you agree?
Miss Bennet may have only tomorrow in Prejudice.
Bingley!
Horse-faced Charlotte ruins everything. Mary, stop. Lydia, stop my nerves. Going to get us a real problem over here.
Did Mr. Bingley say when he would call?
No, but I may not go to church in case he does come.
Jane,
You would endanger your immortal soul because of mine.
what is this shocking behaviour?
Perhaps I will go after all.
No, we were only joking.
Oh,
Indeed, you can stand to be a little more interesting in your dealings with Mr. Bingley, Jane.
really? I always feel that I'm rather foolish.
Truly?
I suppose we are blind to ourselves. When I see him next, I will try to let him know that I like him.
I like you, Mr. Bingley. A truly affectionate response to a proposal.
Charlotte, we cannot know. Do you truly think he'll be proposing? God, Charlotte, he's so sweet and kind.
It is from Netherfield, Jane. Is it from Bingley?
He's here! The moment has arrived! Jane, do step inside. Mr. Collins has something to say to Lizzie.
What?
Charlotte Lucas.
No, Mamma, please.
Ah, my
Excuse
fair
me.
cousin. Your modesty only adds to your merits. Your attributes, your perfection. Such delicacy is highly desirable in ladies. And in...
Mr. Collins.
Yes, Elizabeth Marie Bennet.
Not my middle name.
I have chosen you as my partner, companion, housemate of my life.
Mr. Collins,
Let me assure you of the violence of my affections. Not 2 weeks ago, Lady Catherine de Bourgh consented to provide me with her opinion on the subject. Mr. Collins, you must marry, said her ladyship. And be sure she's a good stock. And what better stock, cousin, than from my own mind? I came to Bennet in 2 parts. Choose, select a wife.
Mr. Collins?
And I dare say, I bring back quite a prize. Of all my cousins who are available, you were the most desirable cousin.
Mr. Collins, I am sensible to the honour of your proposal, but I have elected to do otherwise than to decline it.
You cannot be serious. A lady always rejects a gentleman's first advances. One must woo, court, win, over and over, in order to obtain blushing surrender. I shall play this game, and I must confess, I find your humility most captivating, charming, rousing. Ah, Miss Bennet! Congratulate me on the merger, the unification, the coupling of our household.
Congratulate him!
Oh, my cousin rejects me according to the practices of elegant females.
Reject, Lizzie? Reject?
You are uniformly scrumptious.
The answer is no!
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 No?
No!
What is all this racket?
Mr. Bennet, you must make Lizzie marry Mr. Collins.
It would allow you to keep this estate in your family.
I know, but no.
You come from such low connections. No other offer will ever be made to you.
I know, but no.
You're one of 4 daughters. And you're not even pretty.
I know, but no!
Mr. Collins, would you step out for a moment? Charlotte Lucas, why are you eavesdropping? Do take Mr. Collins for a stroll.
Yes, ma'am.
I came to Meryton to select a wife.
Elizabeth, you will be the ruin of us all. Do think of my nerves. Mr. Bennet, do think of my nerves.
You have refused Mr. Collins, Lizzie?
I've no interest in finding a husband generally,
Oh.
Papa. Most particularly not that one.
Your mother insisted you accept it.
Or I swear I will never see her again.
Papa, my feelings in every respect forbid it.
Then an unhappy choice is before you, Elizabeth. Your mother will never see you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins. And I will never see you again if you do.
Mr. Bennet? Mr. Bennet!
Leave me to my paper!
Mr. Bennet!
So I sink the family fortune.
Why didn't you accept his offer, Lizzie? I thought it was most appropriate.
What is appropriate? One should do anything rather than marry without affection.
Oh, what fun this is! Oh, Charlotte, bless you. Have you rid yourself of Mr. Collins?
Not precisely. He has gone to Lucas Lodge to ask consent from my father.
You don't mean to say he's made another proposal in the course of a walk, have you?
Charlotte Lucas, how could you tell such a story? Mr. Collins wants to marry Lizzie.
Well, you refused him rather absolutely, and he came here to select a wife, and I was there.
Good boy. Lydia, go.
You scarcely know him, Charlotte.
A dance or two, a little conversation. We've been thrown around together, but as all most couples have.
Mr. Collins.
Well, nobody else is asking, Lizzie. My family has no money, I shall have no dowry, and you and I, well, we're not exactly James, are we?
Charlotte.
The clock is ticking. Marriage is a serious matter that ought to be considered rationally, and with Mr. Collins, I shall have...
This. All of this.
Yes, but the entail is not entirely my fault, Jane. And Lizzie, you had your chance. There doesn't need to be any awkwardness between us, does there? We will soon laugh about this as we do everything else.
Lydia has told Mama.
You will visit me in Kent once I'm married, won't you? You won't abandon me because I've stepped out of line. Lizzie, do wish me joy.
Jane, please don't cry. Are you upset with me too?
No. It's the note from Netherfield. Miss Bingley writes that she and her brother have left the county this morning.
Did Darcy go too? When are they to return?
Never. Lizzie, they are never coming back.
This is not a game! This is not a game! This is not a game! Don't you understand? Oh, willful and stubborn and prideful, passive and milquetoast and diffident. Two perfect gentlemen, two perfect matches, and all my hard work has come to nothing, and we shall all come to ruin! Mary! Lydia! I cannot look at these stupid girls again! Take me to my sick bed! Take me to my deathbed! My nerves! My poor nerves! My nerves!
Jane. Bingley will return soon.
Lizzie, do you really think so?
Everything will be perfect. You'll see. You'll see, Jane. You'll see.
My dear? No, it's nothing. I do not wish to discuss it.
Mrs. Bennet!
Well, I suppose I was just thinking of what Charlotte Lucas would do in this room once you are dead. What do you think, Lizzie? Will she steal all of our furniture, Mama? Or will she just burn it all down to matchsticks? She may do what she likes, of course, because she will be mistress of this house, Mama. And we just... Oh, I know that one thing, Jane. There will be no gallant Mr. Bingley riding to our rescue, because he will have long been snatched up by some young lady with an inch of spine. And we, just a poor ruined widow, and her dried up spinster daughters may well then weep for lost chances. But it will be too late then to cry.
Yeah, let us hope for better things.
Oh, that I should live to see such days.
Perhaps you will die before me. Then you shall have to endure none of it. No, she'll never die.
At least you stopped doing things?
It won't last much longer. Charlotte has moved to Kent, and once she returns from visiting her, Mamma will be too eager for gossip to hold a grudge. As for
Bingley?
he shall soon be forgotten, and all will be as it was. I've nothing left to hope for, Lizzie. It was an error of fancy on my side, nothing more.
He must have felt something for you.
Then why did he leave so suddenly, and then not to work for a month?
I do not believe that Bingley we knew would act in this manner. But every day confirms the inconsistencies of all characters, even those thought to be the perfect gentleman. Jane, do you love him?
I used to think love was a full misunderstanding between two people. Perfect knowledge without words needed. But I don't know his
His
mind.
behavior is unaccountable. But
Even if I did love him, there's no way of knowing if he's the right match. How does one ever know?
Well, you would know if you went to London to see him.
I'm
But you
not
want to
going
sit in
to
this
London.
house and be
He
all
doesn't want
weepy
to
and crying and all you...
You'll never guess what feast I have led him again today.
Mr. Wickham.
Miss Bennet, Miss Lizzie, however do you do?
They're very dull, Mr. Wickham.
Lydia.
They see nobody and go nowhere. Stupid Mr. Bingley, stupid went, a stupid way.
Lydia.
He'll make you laugh and laugh. Wickham, do your impression of the cross-eyed cabinet. Oh, tell them the story of how Mr. Darcy stole your inheritance. Anything to break up their seriousness. Come, sir, come.
Lydia! Please join me in the other room for a moment.
What?
Go, Lydia! Go!
High spirits. May I?
I thought only ladies played these games.
I used to play with Mr. Darcy's sister.
I hear she's very accomplished.
Proud girl like the rest of that family. When her brother deserted me, so did she.
Lydia said, you had told her the story of your disinheritance. I thought you swore never to speak of Mr. Darcy's misdeeds.
I had resolved not to. But I'm afraid I'm most imperfect. Too open, too honest. Do you judge me for it?
Oh, no. No. Mr. Darcy has earned his infamy.
Lizzie, I do believe I caught you.
Mr. Wickham, allow me to apologize. I should not have gone on in that wild manner.
I have been known to behave in a wild manner myself.
Papa, this is Mr. Wickham. He escorted me and Mary home today.
Ah, the infamous Mr. Wickham. Heard a great deal of nonsense about you from my girl. Which one shall you be taking off my hands?
I.
Where's Mary, Lydia?
Lydia and Mr. Whatever. Spellhead, let me not behind. Oh, Mary, please drag your
You're an
feet.
idiot.
Did you call her an idiot?
Yes, a Lydia idiot. Lydia.
What do you bring so attractive?
Please pardon the chaos. I wish I could say it was unusual.
Well, you live up to
Miss Lizzie. May I call on you again soon?
I am off to visit a friend in Kent tomorrow, but I shall return in a few weeks.
I do hope I can wait so long.
I must congratulate you, Elizabeth. Jane has been crossed in love recently. And I know women like that above all things. Gives a lady a sort of distinction. Now you found a man to disappoint you too.
Mr. Wickham shall not disappoint me if I can prevent it, Papa.
Why not? He seems capable of jilting you credit.
How many times must I tell you? Tell them that I shall never marry.
So they all say before. How can you promise to be wiser than so many of your fellow creatures? Never said to know for whom the bell tolls, Elizabeth. It tolls for thee.
I can't believe you called me a Lydia.
Well, you are.
Girls inside, please.
It's me. Yes, it is.
You Draco, Mama?
Bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, 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 bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong. A time for you, cousin. Well, not so much for you as they do for the angelics, but the Lord will allow this double celebration. Jubilee.
Recognition?
Recognition of your visit. Bing, bing, bong.
My dear, why don't you go and collect some nosegays for us tonight?
Ah, yes. Miss Bennet, I don't mean to overpower you, but I must inform you, cousin. My sweet cousin, that we've been invited to tea at Rosings by none other than Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
Lady Catherine de
De Bourgh.
Right.
And you will have the inestimable honor of meeting her daughter, Miss de Bourgh. Unfortunately, she suffers from delicate constitution, at which I have told her ladyship has bribed the British court of its brightest jewel, gem, ornament.
My dear! Nosegays.
Oh, Rockstar. Hurry on.
He loves to garden. I encourage him to do so and walk to Rosings every day and attend to his parishioners and be out, generally.
Daisy. Saliga.
How are you, Charlotte?
Life isn't perfect on this side of the line here too, but whenever I get upset or frustrated or overwhelmed, I like to play this little game. I just close my eyes, and whatever is bothering me becomes mere noise, like birds chirping or bells ringing, a mere inoffensive portion of the scenery.
Nasturnium?
The house is pretty, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Ladies, the coach will fetch us within the hour. Miss Bennet, what do you intend to wear?
This.
Well, come.
What's wrong with my dress? Nothing is wrong. It's lovely. Okay, remember, what's wrong with my dress? There's nothing.
Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
My lady, Mr. Burke, you both look marvelous, splendid, radiant.
Don't look at her.
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Turn, Miss Bennet. Turn. A tolerable figure, don't you think, Anne?
Yes.
It's a bit too plump. You're from Meryton, I understand, Miss Bennet. I had a relation there recently and once drove through it myself. It was disgusting. You are one of 4 daughters. Are any of the sisters handsomer than herself?
Most, my lady.
All girls. And thus your father's estate shall go to Collins here? How poorly planned.
The decision was not mine to make, ma'am.
But you shall feel the lesson of it when your father dies. Is he a young man?
No.
Are any of your younger sisters out in society?
All.
All? The younger ones out before the elder are married? Some of them must be very young.
The youngest is only 14. But really, ma'am, it would be hard upon younger sisters to not have their share of amusement because the elder simply does not have an inclination to marry.
Disgusting.
Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy.
Oh, Fitzwilliam! You naughty boy! We weren't expecting you until tomorrow!
I left early to avoid the bad weather, ma'am.
Oh, you're only too pleased, only...
Anne and I are not dressed for any company of note. Oh, my nephew, Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy.
Nephew.
The rector Collins, his wife, and...
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Did you mix with this company in Meryton, sir?
Not willingly.
We attended a dance lesson together, ma'am.
Oh, I had no idea. You danced. Sit by Anne, Fitzwilliam, and tell her of your journey. Sit by Anne, Fitzwilliam.
Tea?
Miss Bennet, you play.
A little, but not well.
Well, we shall hear you anyway.
Okay. Now then.